This is Dave Trumbo for GoMacSports.tv. I'm here with head coach Jason Gardner after the 3-0 win over the Hood Blazers tonight. Jason, I thought you had a lot of guts tonight, coming with your second and third string, basically, to play Hood. Tell me a little bit about your thinking going in.
Yeah, I mean, that unit of guys, I'm comfortable playing against pretty much everyone, right? We wouldn't be where we're at this season without those guys coming in and working hard. And, we've been trying to find opportunities throughout the whole year, and this was just another one of those chances. And, they did a great job, made the most of it.
Well, I had to say, I'm not sure that I would have that much guts because I know those guys weren't coming out. You're not going to embarrass them and pull them, say, oh, no, we have to win. And of course, you have a much better handle on what Hood could do than I did. But it just makes practice so much better when these guys have just played a match and done really well.
Yeah, and that's what we're working towards building, right, as a team, as a program. We want to be as competitive as we can in the gym, in practice. And, that was one of the things I wanted to do a better job coming into this year that I thought I didn't do a great job last year, was getting those guys who have earned opportunities, significant time, not just throwing them in there when you're up, 20 to, 7 and getting them there. So real happy that they did a great job and happy to get those guys in.
Well, and guys like Brian Farrell, a senior, has 7 kills, 11 swings tonight. He's never played that much, but he's stuck with it, and that's what makes this a great program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Brian's, one of those guys who we've asked him to do something different. I think each year, I think his freshman year he came in as an outside, and then we asked him to play a little middle. Sophomore year he filled in for Tim when Tim was down hurt. Last year played a little opposite middle, and this year more in the opposite. But he's just one of those guys that's great for the program. Never has a bad attitude. Always working hard on what you're asking him to do, and he's always done a good job when he's had the opportunity to go in.
Yeah, and so tell me a little bit about Eastern. So you don't know the Messiah. Messiah's playing Misericordia tonight, correct? Yeah. You don't know that score, do you?
No, I haven't
okay.
checked yet.
So big game against Eastern Saturday night at 6 o'clock. Tell me a little bit about that one.
Yeah, winning that one kind of punches our ticket to make sure we're going to playoffs. I think Eastern, has a pretty solid team this year, right? They've taken sets off of, Messiah, they've taken some sets off of some other pretty good teams this year. So, we're going to have to make sure we're focused, playing hard. It would be nice to kind of set up that matchup there at the end of the year with Miz on hopefully getting.
And Rob.
and an old friend, getting in there and, playing for, playoff seeding at that point.
Yeah, okay, great. Thanks, Jason. This has been Dave Trumbo for GoMacSports.tv.